Alright, this is the host of the show with no name.
And this is Jeff.
Alright, now, at this point, I have seen more animes than Jeff. And, this isn't going to be an official video. That's going to come later. But for now, at least, at this point in time, these are my 10 favorite animes ever. And he's going to weigh in on the ones he's seen, the problems he has with some of them, just like I was able to tear into things like Future Diary and No Game No Life on his list. But, hey, let's just get started with this. Number 10, Log Horizon.
Never seen it. See you in 2 minutes.
Have you heard of it?
No.
Well, Log Horizon is basically what I think No Game No Life was trying to be. I also heard that it's a lot like Sword Art Online. I haven't seen Sword Art Online. I don't plan to.
I don't plan to either. I've heard that it's just very disappointing.
I've heard that it's bad. Now, the thing about Log Horizon is that there's this giant, massive multiplayer online role-playing game. It's basically World of Warcraft. And one day, all the players who are logged in at the time literally get sucked into the world.
Oh, I heard that. I've heard of this.
And they are in the world, and they have to work for it. Everybody. And the thing that I like about Log Horizon is, it's kind of hard to put into words. It's kind of like, it's everything. It's like pretty much everything is done right on this show. And it's very smart about how it goes, about the characters that it sets up. Like, all the characters are very well done. You got the main character, Shiro, who I think is amazing. And then you got so many great comedic characters, so many great, like, dramatic characters. And actually, scratch that. All the characters have great moments of comedy and great moments of drama. Log Horizon is a great example of taking a simple idea and then every step of the way putting all your effort into the execution of everything. And I think it is glorious, it is intelligent, it is hilarious, it is creative, and Log Horizon is just huge. I can't wait for the English dub of the second season to be released. I love that show, and like the thing.
Do you seriously just wait until the English dub is out? Like, if the sub is...
Do you have a problem with this?
Kind of.
Do I need to remind you whose show this is?
Fine, whatever.
Okay. I think that Log Horizon, and since Jeff really does like No Game No Life a lot, I would recommend it for him to watch. I think it would be well worth his time. Log Horizon is a great show, and it's a great idea, and I'm glad that we're continuing on with the story. Number 9 is Death Note, one of the most notorious animes ever made. Jeff has also seen Death Note.
Gross.
Gross?
Let me tell you about Death Note.
I'm making my point first. The thing I like about Death Note is that I will freely admit I hate Light. I hate him, but that's kind of the point. Light is a great example of what would happen if you got someone who's really, really, really smart. Probably a little bit too smart for his own good, and gave them a lot of power. And he kills people with Death Note, and it becomes a world where there are no crimes, there are only criminals. And Light is the judge, jury, and executioner alone. But there are two things that really draw me to this show. The first one is the fact that, unlike No Game No Life, it's a very firm set of rules, and it follows those rules rigidly. And when people do things that are clever, there's always within the rules. There's no like, that was just contrivance, or that they just pulled that out of nowhere. All of it, and I think that makes for some very, very satisfying moments on the part of L or Nier, or in some cases even Light. But really, my main reason for liking Death Note so much is L. L might be my favorite character in anything. Like, he is the great, just like, so completely insane, but he's trying, and he, like, cares. He really does.
If you folks could only see him in real life when he first discovered L, it was mind-boggling. He loved L so much. Just know, you didn't get to see the whole process of him with L, but it was pretty intense.
Okay, well, I think that L is amazing. I loved the show because of him. He was so funny, and I think that it's a great example. I think it's a very cool idea, having such a likable like kind-hearted, like justice-oriented character as technically the antagonist. Mm-hmm. The protagonist is Light, and Light is. I actually heard that that Death Note is an allegory for Satan's fall. That makes a lot of sense.
What?
Yeah.
No. For Satan's fall?
Yeah, Lucifer's fall.
Maybe.
I think that Death Note is very clever and it's very thorough, and I definitely appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay, now you say your
My problem
piece.
with Death Note is just that Light exists, and I can deal with mean characters, but bad characters, but for characters that they're so much a part of the show that Light was.
That's why he had such a huge problem with the Lelouch Lamperouge.
Yes, and that is actually really interesting because we did a whole video on Lelouch and Suzaku from Code Geass, and it ended up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, it was too repetitive.
And so, but I just have a problem with Light, and that problem superseded any of the benefits that I got out of that show, which is a very interesting concept, again.
Yeah.
Because it really is about, do you value intelligence over sincerity?
Yeah,
and do you value intelligence over emotional worth?
Should we really try to replace might makes right with a system of justice? Because in a way, might makes right can be very effective.
I thought it was a very interesting concept. I just could not stand Light. To the point where he literally ruined the show for me. And I just couldn't.
I will say this. I found it very, very satisfying to see Light die.
That was, as satisfying as that was to watch him die, it was still at the point where it was too late. Like, he could be dead, he could be alive. I don't care.
At least he didn't win.
My soul had died. And to say, like, there was just so much happening.
Light had written in the Death Note, Jeff's ability to care.
I'm done. I'm really just done.
Can't even.
Ugh.
Can't even.
What an awful man.
He lost his ability to even, and I've said mostly what I'm about to say. I like Death Note. Number 8, Death Parade. I think that Death Parade is probably the saddest anime on this entire list. It just wrecked me.
Really?
Just wrecked me.
That was the worst you got.
Yeah.
Out of all the shows that we've seen, that's
of all the shows I've seen, I think that's the one that really did get me the most, and they just made me break down.
See, now it's sad. Don't get me wrong, it's awful, but
it's freaking sad.
I don't think it's. I think there are lots of ones that are worse.
He's the one who was really affected by Future Diary. I was really affected by Death Parade, and it's just death is always very sad, but it can be sad in so many different ways, and so many different ways that we don't even think about. And the whole idea about Death Parade is to look into what people would think if they had to really just, right after they die, to look at their life. And for some of them, the regrets they have are just intense. The things that they've done, the things they said, and it's all stuff that you can never take back because you're dead. And I think that shows humanity at a very vulnerable, very telling place. I really like the artwork in this show.
I always appreciate... Sorry to interrupt you.
No, continue.
I always appreciate when people paint humanity not as good or as evil, but as malleable.
Yeah,
because it's not really fair to say humans are evil by nature and this is why. And it's also not really fair to go, humans are good by nature and this is why. Humans are a product of their surroundings and their circumstances. And I think that this did a very good job of demonstrating that we are all capable of great good and great evil depending on the hand we're played and how we choose to play it.
Yeah, I think that, but the moment where we learn about the woman with the dark hair's past,
it was sad.
That just wrecked me. All the things she didn't say, everything, all the regrets she has, that was just, oh my gosh.
Do you need a moment?
It just shot through the heart. That was. It was really well done. I think it was so well done. And I said this when I talked about it in my top 20 list. On the surface, Death Parade looks like a rather morbid show about death. But in the end, it's not that at all. It is a celebration of life.
I wouldn't hesitate to call it morbid, though.
Oh, it's morbid, but when all is said and done, it's not about death, it's about life.
See, I wish that they had gone, that it had continued a little further. I wanted to see a lot more.
I think that Death Parade ended exactly where it should have.
I know, but like the characters in the back, like the main guy with the head, with the flower on his head, and the bartender, the Japanese,
the one with the red hair,
the one with the red hair that was always angry all the time,
the one who hated everything.
Yes, I liked him. He was fun.
I'm just thinking about the opening sequence. Like, it's so silly compared to what the show is. Death Parade is just the real hurts. The reels just hits me right in the feels, and it just makes me cry.
I hope you're not proud of that.
I'm not proud of that.
Proud of saying the reels.
Okay, please.
Right,
okay, I hope you're proud of your number one pick.
I am, sir.
He actually is. So all in all, we both think that Death Parade is a great show, but I just loved it. I think it was very powerful. I think it was just masterpiece. Next up, number 7 is Psychopass.
Haven't seen it.
Doesn't want to see it.
I know. I have friends at school that are really into Psychopass.
Because they're intelligent and they like good things.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Psychopass is it's very smart, and it never once looks down on the viewer. It treats the viewer as someone who's smart, and it's a very good look at dystopia. Like, it's not like, and one thing I like about it is it isn't like it's not a lighthearted view of it, but it's not like 1984 where it's just like completely terrifying. It's somewhere in the middle, and it's not this society is completely and totally evil, and it's not we should accept this society. It's there are things in society that work, and there are things in this society that doesn't, but we have to decide what we want to change. And basically the idea is that the law enforcement have these things called dominators, and they point it at you. They get a number. The higher it is, the more likely you are to commit a crime. If it's high enough, you get to jail, and if it's really high, they are legally obligated to shoot you right there. And it's very telling how crime coefficients, how they work, and there are so many ways that this system can go wrong compared to all the, let's face it, obvious benefits of this system, and it shows how the way that some of these can go wrong. But another thing that I don't think I really mentioned when I talked about it in my top 20 is that I really love the main character, Akane Tsunemori. I think that she's a great main character because she's not perfect, but she's trying, and she really is working at it.
Can I just say, from a libertarian standpoint, this show sounds like a real nightmare. But it explores this really fine line of, at what point do you stop preventing crimes and start being just
at what point
a police of everything? Like,
at what point does the prevention of crimes go into criminal territory?
Go into the point of infringing upon other people's right to live. Because you can look at it like, how many crimes could we have prevented if we had this type of system? Probably a lot. But
it's like Minority Report, but a lot more clinical.
People need to have the right to make their own choices and make their own mistakes.
Yeah.
But, and it's such a fine line to cross, because maybe the only thing that someone does outside of the ordinary is to hurt someone, and that's really sad. But it's a very interesting question to ask. I probably would like Psychopass if I ever got around to watching it, but I don't see that happening.
A lot of people, for some reason, just decided to not see season 2. See season 2. It's also really good. There's like season 1 and season 2 both like go into different directions about huge problems with this system, and I think that Psychopass is an amazing show, and I really think that more people need to know about it. I'm really excited for the movie coming out next year. I really, really loved Psychopass.